WCBI News at 6 starts now.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us. Last night, Starkville City leaders reversed a recent decision. Now, the town will become one of the few in the state with a pride parade.
After Mayor Lynn Spruill's tie-breaking vote, the controversial decision signaling a wave of change in North Mississippi. Our Jory Talley joins us live from Starkville now with more.
This is where Starkville Pride members celebrated the new vote. Now they are preparing thousands to celebrate what they see as a step forward in equality. What started out as Starkville Pride organizing a parade for Pride Week quickly swirled into controversy, national headlines, and a lawsuit.
I went from tears because I was so worried that nothing was changing to being so excited because I truly felt like we made a difference, that this made a difference, and not just in the fact that we got a parade, but because people realized that we too are citizens and we deserve equitable rights.
Members say the national attention led to hundreds of people from across the country reaching out to the MSU campus organization and confirming they'll be in Starkville for the Pride Parade.
I'm so excited because it sets a precedent for what Starkville can do, for what students can do, for what we can do as a community, and just like the change that we can implement just by standing up for our rights.
Member Sam Calvert believes the vote and the parade has statewide implications.
What does this do for Mississippi? I think it might start tearing down a lot of those opinions in Mississippi that we're the most backward in everything, that we have two major prides I know of, at least now in Mississippi.
Members know the decision isn't welcomed by everyone, but it does give hope to the LGBT community.
Now maybe we can more comfortably walk down the street and not feel like we're going to be attacked or shouted at for holding hands with somebody you love. And it's affirming to know that you are welcome where you live.
It gives people hope that they can do something to this caliber. You know, maybe there'll be a Pride Parade in Tupelo next year. Maybe there'll be a Pride Parade in Manatee. I don't know. I think for the LGBTQ community, this is a really big, visible moment, specifically in Mississippi.
The parade will take place here in downtown Starkville on March 24th. But for now, reporting live here in Starkville, Jory Talley, WCBI News.
Macon alderman fire one of the city's veteran police officers. Ernest Eichelberger was relieved of his duties after last night's vote. Eichelberger is a former state trooper and has previously run for Noxubee County Sheriff. Last month, town leaders demoted former Chief Lucius Mason to patrol officer. Divine Beck was promoted to chief.
The long-debated Columbus restaurant tax and interlocal agreement must survive another local vote. Attorney General Jim Hood's office wants some portions of the interlocal agreement to be rewritten because of some legal technicalities. The Columbus City Council approved those changes at its meeting Tuesday night. City spokesperson Joe Dillon says the terms of the agreement between city leaders and the Convention and Visitors Bureau Board have not changed. In that agreement, the city will receive $300,000 for Propes Park enhancements, $50,000 for the new amphitheater, and another $50,000 will go to 4 area festivals. Now CVB board must approve the changes by the changes of legal wording, that is. Bills to approve the restaurant tax extension have been filed in the state legislature.
A proposed law to allow teachers to carry concealed weapons at school clears another hurdle today. An amended version of House Bill 1083 passed the Mississippi Senate. The original bill sought to clarify Mississippi's concealed carry laws and allow enhanced permit holders to sue any group that prohibits them from exercising their option to carry, including universities that ban weapons from sporting events. In the wake of the Florida school shooting, Senator Briggs Hobson proposed an amendment to the bill that would give school leaders the option to allow teachers who meet certain requirements and complete a Department of Public Safety course to carry their weapons. HB 1083 now goes back to the House for more debate.
March is dedicated to women's history. Today we highlight local female voices in politics.
Our Victoria Bailey talks with women about the importance of being heard and casting decision-making votes. She joins us in the studio with more.
That's right, guys. We've seen and heard on a national scale women becoming more vocal in many areas: the workplace, in motion pictures, and of course the political arena. Though women are speaking up and taking a stand, the women in politics I spoke with say there's still a lot to be done.
Now more than ever, women all over the country, like Houston Alderwoman Kelly Atkinson, are making an impact in politics on the local and national levels.
In my mind, I thought, this is my opportunity to show my kids that you can't just sit around and complain about things. If you want to make a difference, the difference starts with you.
Stennis Center for Public Service Program Director Jennifer Gregory says it can be tough entering a male-dominated job field, but it's almost a necessity for women in this state.
Mississippi in particular, we've never sent a woman to Congress, we've never elected a woman governor, and if you combine those two statistics, we're the only state in the country that can say that. So we have a little bit of work to do.
Atkinson was sworn into office for Ward 1 last spring. She hopes by taking this leap, it will encourage other young ladies to get involved.
And I think your presence is known without having to come to a meeting. You know, I feel like they're seeing you because you're in the public eye and you're on the news and you're doing various things for your community. And I think it encourages them to not only necessarily run for office, but maybe just be civically engaged.
Talk a little bit about the importance of having a female voice in politics.
And being able to work together is going to enhance your entire city and your community versus just having an all-male or having an all-female board.
In policy making in particular, there's a lack of women at the table making those decisions that largely affect women and families.
There have been some strides in politics for women, including the last presidential election. A Rutgers University study shows 71 women hold statewide offices across the country and hold 106 of the 535 seats in the U.S. Congress. But Gregory says there's more room for improvement.
We've seen a lot of interest. We've seen a big movement across the country in both political parties, but we want to see that interest taken to the next level and see those women get engaged, run for office, or even volunteer in their communities, serving on a school board, serving in their chamber of commerce, or on a board or commission in their city or county as a
Now, Mississippi has 2 women holding statewide offices, treasurer and agriculture commissioner. Alabama Governor Kay Ivey is the second woman to serve in that position. The Stennis Center is organizing a Southern Women in Public Service Conference in April. For more information, visit WCBI.com.
All right, good stuff there.
No, absolutely. All right, time to turn things over to Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson. He joins us with a first look at our forecast. Keith?
Joy, Andrea, clear and chilly conditions across the region. In many spots, there are some clouds on the horizon. For some of you, you have some clouds right now. Those will clear out, but it's chilly. It's been blustery all day long. We've got temperatures in the 40s right now. We have a freeze warning for a good chunk of the area. Some spots not under an official advisory, but you too will fall down to freezing, if not a little bit below. So protect the plants tonight if you've already got some of those tender plants sprouting. 40s now, low 30s, perhaps even some upper 20s later tonight. We have a time change coming up this week. We'll talk more about that in your 7-day in just a few minutes.
All right, thanks a lot, Keith. The Mississippi Senate honors a Columbus native and veteran at the Capitol today. World War II veteran Joseph R. Johnson served with General Patton's famous Third Army. Lowndes County State Senator Chuck Younger authored the resolution to salute the war hero. Although the veteran was the one receiving the honor, the Senate couldn't get enough of Johnson. In a tweet, Lieutenant Governor Tate Reeves said he's never seen the Senate so captivated as Johnson told his stories of serving under the general.
Walk, run, bike, or drive. If you're a Mississippi State student or staff member, no matter how you get to class, it sometimes can be difficult. A new $7 million transportation grant aims to curb that problem. The money will be used to improve a roughly 2-mile multimodal passageway on Hightower Road. Everything from sidewalks, bike lanes, street lighting, and improved traffic signals are on the table for the project. The U.S. Department of Transportation approved the grant under the Transportation Investment Generation Economic Recovery Program, or TIGER. Since 2009, Mississippi has received nearly $100 million in tiger funds.
A new Tupelo Lee Humane Society shelter could be up and running by the summer. Construction on the nearly $2 million facility started about a year ago. It will triple the size of the current Humane Society. The building allows for separate dog and cat areas and includes an on-site spay and neuter clinic.
It's going to be easier on the employees to clean the animals. It's also going to be more efficient on being able to get the animals out more often. We're going to have an enrichment area, so that people can go out and visit with animals outside. And it's just going to be major uplift, a major uplift for the community.
The current shelter has been operating on South Gloucester since 1995.
Coming up, a photographer is improving the image of shelter animals.
We get a look at the big picture when we come back.
Welcome back. A Colorado-based photographer is spending her week in our area saving shelter pets with her camera.
WCBI's Allie Martin tells us how the professional shutterbug is using her skills to help the Tupelo Lee Humane Society and is teaching others the tricks of the trade.
Every day, Nanette Martin works at her dream job.
Kelly, you want to go outside?
She is founder of Shelter Me Photography, whose goal it is to improve society's perception of homeless pets using professional photography and education. This week, Martin is donating her skills at the Tupelo Lee Humane Society. She is taking photos of every pet and gives the images to the shelter to be posted online. Martin says how a pet is photographed can play a huge role in whether it's adopted or not.
Photographing an animal behind the bars, inside a cage, inside anything that's going to show restraint, especially a catch pole, those things can scare people away.
Instead, she says to get level with the animal and don't be shy.
You got to be willing to make a nut out of yourself, just be silly, be loud, be obnoxious, but also be quiet and sensitive when it needs it if you've got a scared dog.
And she stresses eye contact.
It's really, really important to make a connection with the animal. You got to do whatever it takes to get the animal to look into your lens, and that's critical because the person looking at the picture is now looking into the eyes of that animal. And when there's going to be an emotional reaction to an image, it's going to start through eye contact.
Martin shares her skills at workshops in each city she visits. Nellie Tyra is a professional photographer and says she learned a lot.
Using the background and making the dogs stand out rather than usually I do the outdoor pictures here or inside I try to make space, but having the actual background on the setup will make such a big difference for the dogs, for the emotional connection.
Martin has photographed more than 10,000 shelter animals. In Tupelo, I'm Allie Martin, WCBI News.
Martin will travel to Monroe, Louisiana next. Her work is sponsored by Purina.
And let's go over to our other graphic system here tonight. We have nothing going on with our high-resolution satellite, well, because we are mainly clear, but we do have some spotter training classes upcoming here in our area. The next one will be Monday in Amory. We've added Grenada to the list there, so go out to those. They're free and open to the public. Full forecast is next.
Your first alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
It is great to see you on our Wednesday evening. A lot of sunshine today, still some clouds out there in some spots, but we will all go clear tonight. Temperatures are currently in the 40s. We will get down into the low 30s, if not upper 20s later tonight. So it's a chilly one out there. It's been blustery all day long. Those winds are subsiding. That's our saving grace at this point. So it's a cool one. We'll take it down to about 31 as an average. Some of you perhaps 32 or 33. Other spots 28, 29 or 30. Low-lying sheltered spots in the northeast. A little bit better chance to get below 30 degrees. But we have a freeze warning to all these areas in the purple. That is for tonight. We also have a freeze watch for a good chunk of the region for tomorrow night. So let's just say every location watching our broadcast right now has a chance for a freeze tonight and tomorrow night. Spring is getting closer and closer officially. March 20th but right now we've actually cooled things down relative to where we were for essentially all of February. Extremely warm, and now we're taking things back a little bit as we start March. Thursday, lots of sunshine here. A chilly start. You'll need that jacket in the morning. The wind will increase again from the west and northwest, 10 to 20. So another breezy, cool day for us. Highs ranging from about 50 near Corinth to the mid-50s in the Golden Triangle area. But at least we'll see a lot of sunshine. So that's our saving grace. A little bit warmer down towards south, low 60s. Cooler 40s up towards Nashville tomorrow. But across the entire region, we're looking at a lot of sunshine. We are on the southern periphery of this big area of low pressure across New England. We've had a few of those clouds move through today. The moisture has stayed to the north. Some additional energy back to the west. That will give us some rain chances by the weekend. So let me show you futurecast here. High pressure for Thursday and Friday. Great looking weather. We are on the backside of high pressure Friday, so we start a southerly flow. Temperatures warm back up into the 60s. And as we get into your Saturday, we should get up to around 70, at least across the southern counties, and then we'll have some showers and storms possible, and some of those could be strong, possibly severe during the evening and overnight hours. We'll be watching out for that. Not certain yet, but it's a possibility here. We have some moisture, some wind energy coming our way. And then don't forget about the time change. We will shift things around. Set your clocks ahead 1 hour. If you have a manual analog clock there Sunday morning, your devices should update themselves. Cool and dry again next week.
Yes, that means you'll lose an hour of sleep. Go to bed earlier. The battle for the SEC tournament title already underway in St. Louis. We're live with more from the Gateway City next in sports.
WCBI Sports with Tom Ebel is brought to you by your local Ford dealers. Go further.
A big week in store up in St. Louis for the SEC men's basketball tournament. Mississippi State looks for their first conference tourney title since 2009. The Rebels look to run the table for the first time since 2013. Our Robbie Donahoe is live from the Gateway to the West with more on the games tonight. Robbie?
Thank you, Tom. Good evening. Welcome here inside of the Scott Trade Center. We are on the main concourse here in St. Louis as Georgia and Vanderbilt going on right now down the court. At last check, Georgia taking care of Vanderbilt here early on in the first half. But coming up tonight around 8:30, we'll get a chance to see Ole Miss here in St. Louis taking on South Carolina. South Carolina team that's been up and down, and we know Ole Miss can be streaky. Now, they've struggled to this end of the season without Andy Kennedy. Ironically, Andy Kennedy's actually here in the building tonight working for SEC Network, but the Rebels, you never really know. I mean, you could get Terrence Davis, DeAndre Burnett, Markel Crawford. They could get hot. They could hit some threes and potentially take down South Carolina. So it's an 8:30 p.m. tip time on the SEC Network. We'll try to get highlights. Hopefully we'll get them on for you coming up tonight at 10. Depends on if the game ends in time. But if not, we'll have it on Sunrise tomorrow morning. We'll also talk a little more about that coming up tonight and tomorrow on WCBI Sports. But for Mississippi State, the Bulldogs are also here in St. Louis. They will take on LSU tomorrow at 6 p.m. The Bulldogs elected not to take their hour practice here at the Scott Trade Center, instead opting for a little bit more rest. Bulldogs feel like they have a chance to prove some people wrong and also in the process maybe put themselves back in the NCAA tournament conversation. I got a chance to catch up with the Bulldogs and head coach Ben Howland a little bit earlier today.
You know, it's a whole new season now. It's postseason play. This is what everybody lives for and what you strive for at the beginning of the year, and it's a great opportunity. We've got to play a lot better than we did on Saturday down in Baton Rouge to have success tomorrow. We understand that. And we'll make a few adjustments from the game plan the first time we played them, and hopefully that'll help us.
We do feel like it's a new season. Our league's back on. We took 2 days off after our last game, so I mean, we mentally and physically ready to play some basketball.
Definitely, we feel like a redemption. So we got to take care of business with this LSU game, just try to come out and compete and get the W.
And Nick Weatherspoon putting it best, it sort of feels like it's a redemption tour here for Mississippi State. If you beat LSU in this round coming up tomorrow, then you play Tennessee. That's the last 2 losses the Bulldogs have had. So if MSU can get back in the March Madness mix, those would be the 2 wins they absolutely need to have going forward. Again, we'll recap that Ole Miss South Carolina game coming up tonight, hopefully here on WCBI Sports, tomorrow morning on Sunrise, and coming up throughout the next few days here in St. Louis. We hope to be here until Sunday with either MSU, Ole Miss. Can't forget about Alabama. They're playing the noon game against Texas A&M. For now, reporting live here in St. Louis at the Scotts Trade Center, Robbie Donahoe, WCBI Sports. Tom, let's toss it back to you in Columbus.
Thank you, Robbie. And just a quick notification, we'll have these full highlights coming up at 10 as well. Starkville Lady Jackets absolutely rolled through Pearl today, 60-51. The Lady Jackets are heading back to the state championship. Of course, they're the reigning state champs in girls 6A. Tonight, Starkville Columbus. We'll have those highlights coming up at 10 right here on WCBI Sports as well. We'll have a last year forecast coming up next.
WCBI coverage of the SEC tournament is brought to you by OCH Regional Medical Center, Advanced Medicine, Compassionate Care, and Visit Columbus, the city that has it all.
Down to around freezing tonight and tomorrow night. Tomorrow, sunny but chilly. We're back into the 60s Friday. It should be a very nice way to close out the work week. Those rain chances really ramp up Saturday afternoon and Saturday night. And then next week promises to be very similar to this, cool but sunny.
Thankfully, more sun than rain in that forecast finally.
That is true. I did. Can't forget we may see an inch or two of rain Saturday. So, you know, pick your poison.
It's been a great week though, so can't complain.
And a little chilly, but that's all right. Thanks so much for joining us.